Today I'm going to show you how I like to make acorn squash using my slow cooker. I have a small acorn squash, some butter and brown sugar, and of course I have to cut this squash in half. This one is being particularly stubborn, and yes, once you give it a really good whack, it's going to go flying completely off the countertop. But once you retrieve that, have a bowl nearby. I like to use a grapefruit spoon and just scrape out all of the fibers and the seeds from inside the acorn squash. Collect them in the bowl, and the reason for that is I'll show you later what I'm going to do with these. Be sure to stay tuned because it's probably a little bit unique what I do with my seeds from my squash. But we'll collect this from both of the halves, and then for now set that aside. And as you can see, we have two lovely halves of squash. You actually could cook them as halves if you wanted. That would be the smart thing to do if your intent is to whip the squash. My mom used to do that actually, where she cooked the squash and scooped it all out and then made it almost like mashed potatoes. That's a pretty yummy way to make your squash if you like it that way. But I'm going to wedge them. So each of these halves I cut into 3 pieces, and then I'm going to transfer those pieces to my crock pot. This is a 6-quart crock pot, and make sure the wedges are in skin side down, so the skin is touching the bottom of the crock pot. These will fit in here no problem. And then I have melted the butter, and now I'm going to add the brown sugar to the butter and just give that a stir. This, it's a really small bowl, so I have to be careful at first, but all you're trying to do is make a nice paste with this combination. And then once you have it nice and thick, just start transferring it to each of the wedges that are in the crock pot. I do this after they're in the crock pot so that if you spill a little bit, it's inside the crock pot and not on the counter. And then I just like to take the back of the spoon and kind of smear them around. Let's face it, this is butter and brown sugar. Some of it's going to melt off and end up on the bottom of your crock pot, so you don't have to be real precise here, but I like to smear it around so that most of the wedge has a chance of getting some of that yummy flavor while it cooks. Cover the crock pot, and then we'll set the cook cycle on slow cook, high temperature for 2 hours. For most of the time, a small wedge, 1.5 hours is enough, but my crock pot actually doesn't go any lower than 2 hours. So 2 hours it is today. You can always check at an hour and a half and see if they're done. I did leave these go for the full 2 hours. I will check them with a fork just to verify that they're done. You can certainly tell very quickly whether they're done if you pierce them with a fork. These are all very nice and soft and ready to go. So you can serve them as is. You can just give them a try, whatever you like. I do encourage you to add maybe a little sprinkle of salt. The salt with the sweetness is a real delight to your taste buds. I hope you give this a try. It's an easy way to cook squash when your oven is too full to fit anything more. And also, as promised, what I'm doing with my seeds. This is a pile of walnuts from my tree that I make every year that the squirrels eat off all winter long. And look who came to eat the seeds. It was a delightful surprise, and I just wanted to share it with you. Enjoy.